Baik, 28 Januari lalu, Perdana Menteri Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak mengumumkan pengurangan kadar caruman KWSP pekerja dari 11% kepada 8% sebagai sebahagian daripada langkah pengubahsuaian bajet 2016. Antara lain, ini khasnya bertujuan merangsang penggunaan domestik yang dijangka menjadi enjin pertumbuhan ekonomi negara tatkala pendapatan dari komoditi menyusut secara signifikan. Dan untuk melihat lebih lanjut mengenai kesan peningkatan pendapatan boleh guna rakyat kepada pertumbuhan ekonomi dan juga kesan sentimen rakyat kepada pasaran ekuiti tempatan, bersama saya di talian sekarang adalah Akmal Hassan, pengarah urusan Asian Islamic Investment Management, yang izinkan saya betul dalam bahasa Inggeris. Akmal, thank you so much for joining us on Bisnes AWANI once again.
Thank you for having me.
Akmal, just today, the MEF urged most of our local workforce to opt for the original 11% of EPF contribution rather than the 8% contribution. And it seems that a lot of people are actually opting to maintain their contribution percentage as so at 11%. What do you think the effects will this pose on our domestic consumption? Will it be counterproductive to the government's initiative to spur domestic consumption by restructuring our budget last month?
Well, first thing first, I think we must know that the announcement made by the government on the reduction of EPF contribution from 11 to 8%, it is actually an option to the people, and it is only a temporary measures. It's not a permanent measure. So, according to the government, the reduction of 3% would translate into 8 billion in consumer spending. And as we know, consumer consumption represents about slightly more than 50% to our GDP. So, consumer spending is actually a big generator to the GDP growth. And if we were to assume that the key word here is all that estimated 8 billion will be spent, then yes, it would help to boost the GDP or the consumer consumptions. However, if we were to assume otherwise, i.e., all that 8 billion will not be utilized or spent by the people, then we can say that it is perhaps counterproductive to the government effort to spur domestic consumption.
In terms of assuming whether it's going to be spent in totality, what do you think? Well, do you think it will be spent in totality or otherwise?
I think one would need to look at their income level first, and then they would need to decide whether it is something that they would want to do or not, whether they prefer to utilize the options that given by the government in the short term, or they would rather to remain and look at it from the long-term perspective. I think it's very much depending on the preference of the people.
Mm-hmm. And the preference obviously revolves around a lot around the sentiment. Sorry, but now that people are cautious to spend, because we're talking about sentiment, people are very cautious to spend. How will this affect investments? In the equities and the financial markets, are people looking for so-called safe haven investments?
Well, based on what we have observed, yes, in general, people are turning cautious now due to the current challenging economic environment. Just like during a storm, we tend to seek shelter, and things are no different with investment. When there is a financial storm brewing, investors seek shelters in assets that perceive to be safe. However, for those with high risk appetite, I think asset mispricing provides opportunities over a long-term investment horizon.